So when you hurt your low back, the first thing you want to do is obviously get out of pain. What your brain does is it notices, hey, something went wrong, something in the low back's off. We're going to shut it all down. We're going to tighten everything up. That's why you're going to have spasms. You're very tight. You can't move. And it gives you those pain signals to know, hey, don't move more. Don't make things any worse. So we have to get out of pain. And we have to do that in order to tell the brain, hey, everything's okay. Relax. Calm down. You can let go. We're going to get control of this situation. So first thing, we can't get better if we don't get out of pain. That's step one. So this is how you do that. You have to find a position where your spine is going to be neutral. Your low back won't have any pressure on it. Standing or sitting, even laying down flat, sometimes, depending on the injury, can kind of exacerbate that. So this position, almost always, will get you out of pain. So find a chair, a couch. You can even put your feet up against a wall. But you're looking for that 90-90 position where, 90-90, you're making a 90-degree angle. Now your low back is neutral, and that should take you out of pain. Now to help you even further with that, you want to start breathing from your diaphragm, diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing. So not just your chest. A lot of times our chest will go up and down when we breathe, but we want to focus on breathing from our diaphragm or low belly. So drawing air in, out, in, out. And it will help to breathe through the nose as well. If you can't, you can't, but that's what you should try for ideally. Breathe through the nose, deep into your belly, relax. Nice, slow. You do box breathing, 4 seconds in, hold for 4 seconds, 4 seconds out. And that's going to get your body to calm down, release good hormones, get out of fight and flight, all those good things. All right, so that is the first step. Get out of pain, find a neutral position like that, and you can go from there. If you're an athlete trying to improve your performance, or you're just trying not to have low back pain, learning how to brace your spine, use your core to safeguard your spine is very important. So the first step in knowing how to do that is learning how to breathe. You don't want to breathe from your chest. You want to breathe from your diaphragm in order to do this. So okay. A simple way to learn how to do this is if you put your hands around your waist, kind of pinch in, and then cough. You feel that pressure against your fingertips. So if you bring in air and try to expand out against your hands, and then tighten up a little bit too. Now you're also going to expand, don't forget about your thumbs in the back. You'll feel pressure from air going in and bracing around your spine, and that is going to be a bracing. Now it used to be taught to a lot of trainers and athletes that you need to suck in your stomach, your belly button into your spine, but that does not do, research has found out, it doesn't protect your spine the same as bracing. So bracing is what you want to do. Again, you're going to put your thumbs in the back, fingers around the front, expand into it. And think about breathing behind an iron shield. So I can still talk, I can still breathe, but I'm braced. And it's not just a crunch down, because if I crunch down, I'm bending at the low back. I don't want to hurt the low back, I'm trying to safeguard the low back. So again, it's practice that. If you're on your back with your knees bent and you can do belly breathing, that can also help you to learn how to brace your core. So practice that, use that in every lift that you do, and that's going to eliminate back pain, especially like if you're about to get out of a chair or you know you're going to go into a position that's gonna hurt your low back. You're gonna brace and then move from that. So this is going to be a progression of floor twists that is going to help kind of stretch, floss the nerves in the low back. Part of it is painful, more irritating is a better word. So here's a progression. Here's how you start. First off, you want to bring the knees up to the chest, and then you're going to roll over or dump them to the side. Now you don't want to go down, you want to keep them up. Your hands are going to be stretched out, palms up. Okay? Now, at this point, this is going to be the worst part of it. The top leg, you want to keep those knees stacked. The top leg, you want to extend out, toes up. That's going to be tight, that's going to hurt. Keep the knees up, stacked and high. You can even use that other hand to help. Pulse it straight. Try to get 10 of them. A few of them like that. Switch over. Do the top leg. Again, keep them up high, stacked. Top leg again. You'll see a difference. One side will hurt a lot more than the other. It's going to hurt more here. It's not going to hurt your low back. So don't worry, it's not bad pain, it's just more annoying. So you're going to do the side that hurts more. You're going to do that more, maybe twice, 2 to 1. And then after you get that done, now you're going to make sure that your hands are not going to help. It's easy to push off from side to side, but you want to elevate them off the floor. Again, keep the knees up high, don't let them fall as you twist. Keep them up high. And then twist. The change of direction is going to be hard. Try not to use your hands to push off. A factor that contributes to low back pain is sitting a lot. What happens is the muscles on the front of our hips, our hip flexors and our quads, they get tight. Then when we stand up, we go to move about again, those muscles are pulling on our hips and our low back and then causing us pain. So what we want to do is we want to stretch these muscles here in the front. But we have to understand something about our hips. See, our hips are like a bowl. So there's muscles attached to the front. Like we said, the hip flexors and the quads, and then the glutes and the hamstrings are attached to the back. So the position of our hips affects those muscles. So we can't stretch those muscles on the front unless our hips are in the right position, right? It's all connected. So if you're not sure how to move your hips, you didn't know you could move your hips, here's a little something that can help. Think that you're talking to some kids at a baseball dugout, okay? And you're just leaning over and you're talking to them. This position allows you the greatest freedom to move your hips and kind of play with flexion and extension. So what I'd like you to do is, if you can stick all your butt all the way back, but now the opposite of that is tucking your butt under, or thinking as if you have a belt buckle and you're twisting that belt buckle up to your belly button. Okay? So you're in this position, you're rolling your hips under, twisting that belt buckle to your belly button, and then now keep that tight and then bring your torso up straight in line with your knee, hip, shoulder, right? But your hips are tucked under And then for added emphasis, squeeze that glute on the knee down leg, and you'll get an even more intense stretch. Now after you've held that, you have good control of that. Now kind of pulse back and forth a little bit, make that stretch a little bit more dynamic, and you'll get even more out of it. So do that about 45, 60 seconds on each leg. That's gonna help open up those hips, release those hip flexors and quads, and help you with your low back pain. Once you're out of pain in your low back and you'd like to get a little bit more mobility, maybe kind of groove the movements of the workout that's going to come to strengthen the low back, you can do a cat camel. Okay, so for that position, you will be in a quadruped position, and here you're really going to be moving the hips a lot. So you'll be doing this, down, like a camel, and then like a cat. So you're moving your hips and your back at the same time. So you feel like, hey, someone's pulling you from the center, from your belly button, and then opposite, someone's pulling you right from the center, top. So again, down, up, camel, cat, camel, cat. And that should get you ready, and that will be your movement prep. Your core is obviously very important for low back pain, and one of the key exercises to help strengthen your core, to get a 360 approach to strengthening your core, is doing a side plank or a McGill side plank. Okay, that's what these look like. You want to make sure that your shoulder or elbow is positioned underneath your shoulder, because you're going to go up, right? But once you do that, you don't want to be here, then go up. Now your shoulder and elbow is at a bad angle, right? You want to be stacked. So you'll probably, and visually for yourself, you want to aim for your elbow to be kind of on the inside of your shoulder when you look straight down. Okay, so that's the first portion of that. Second portion is you can stack your feet. If that's too hard, you can then bend your knees, but you want to be a straight line. Just so you don't want this. You want a straight line. So just like that. Then you come up. There's different levels to this. This is a good neutral place to start. If this is too hard, again, you can kickstand, bring a leg out in front of you, distribute that weight. Then, if you want to kick it up a notch, lift the leg, again, making more demand on the core in this area. You want to work up to about a minute and a half is a good solid number. If you can work your way up to 3 minutes, that's very good. So doing that exercise, the side plank or the McGill side plank and other variation, is going to bulletproof your core in a 360 degree protection. One of the best exercises that has a transfer to helping strengthen your body and prevent low back pain is the bird dog. Now, the job of the bird dog is to strengthen and test your core, because the job of your core is to connect your lower body and your upper body. And if you have a strong core, you can do that. And if you have a strong core, now you're going to rely on the core muscles along with glutes and other muscles, but you're not going to rely on your low back so much. Okay? So, how do you do the bird dog? Well, the bird dog has several levels, and you can progress as you go along. So the main job here, as we said earlier, is to keep this center of your body stable and strong while you move your limbs around it. So the first level, level 1, is you're going to keep your core stable and only move your arms. Okay? So you're going to do that. You're going to take air in to your belly button, your diaphragm, and then you're going to brace around it. Okay? So that's nice and tight. Now, I'm going to brace and then move my arms, alternate without moving my core. So I don't want that, I don't want that. Right? No movement here. Nice and stable. And I don't have to move. I don't have to, if moving up with my arm, if that affects things, then I don't move up. I stay within the range of motion that I can control. Okay? That's level 1. Now, level 2 is we're going to start moving the lower body. So again, nice and stable. A big mistake that people do is they lift their glutes, their leg up high. Now, when I do that, you'll see I can very easy to bend right here in the low back, the spine. So we don't want that. So the key is think about your big toe on your feet as if it was a paintbrush. And with that paintbrush, you're going to mark a line straight behind you. So you're not thinking about bring my leg up, but bring my leg behind me straight. So again, brace the core and then alternate each leg. Nice and stable. Again, I don't need to bring my leg up very high. Just get a nice stable core and a nice glute contraction. So now my core and my lower body are working together. Okay, now, when you're able to do that, we move on to level 3. We're going to incorporate the arms and the legs. So we're going to do cross body, right? We're going to do opposite arm, opposite leg. Again, core nice and stable. Just like that. Now, that was good. Bad form would look like this. Notice you want to look right here. See all that bend? That core isn't activating, it's not doing that job, its job. So again, good form would be this. Stable core. Doesn't have to go high. Okay? Now ideally, something you want to think about is that if you had a champagne glass on top of your low back, you're so stable you would never spill that. Okay? That's the image, that's the picture you want in your brain. And you work through those levels, arms, legs, and then together. And that will have a strong correlation. As you get good at that, you'll notice you get better and have less pain, and you'll feel stronger as you move around in your daily life and other exercises that you do. So, hope you find that helpful. Apply those, you'll have much less back pain. A great exercise to strengthen your glutes so that you use your glutes and not smaller muscles like your low back is the glute bridge. So to do a glute bridge, you'll want to get on your back, and the hips are an important part of this exercise as well. You want the hips in a neutral position. So you see this big arch I have? That would be bad. We don't want that, because then that means when we do the glute bridge, we're going to initiate it from our low back. And you'll notice that, hey, you'll do a few reps and your low back will be warm, you'll be using those muscles, then you know, hey, I'm doing that wrong. What you want is a neutral spine. So usually, That means having a flat back, where your back is flat to the ground. You have your hand there, you're squashing your hand to the floor. And that will give you a flat back, a more neutral spine. Now, if you have large glutes, that will prevent you from getting a neutral spine. So because you have large glutes, now flattening your back will actually over-rotate your hips and it won't be neutral anymore. So just notice that. But for the most part, flat back will get you to a neutral spine. Now that your hips are neutral, squeeze the glutes. So squeeze them real hard and keep squeezing them, and before you know it, you're going to press up through your feet all the way at the top. Keep squeezing. You'll get a nice glute contraction. You want a straight line from your knee to your shoulder. Again, neutral spine, squeeze the glutes all the way up. Now, some things that might help you is if you imagine that you had a belt, you had a chain attached to your belt and that was pulling you straight up to the ceiling. That's kind of the path of travel that you'd like. Now, if you feel like you're using your quads, you may be pushing. See how I'm like pushing this way instead of pushing up. So if you do that, you'll be using your quads more. If your feet are out, I'm exaggerating that, but you'll be using hamstrings more. So you want to play with the distances, hip width, and where you get the best glute activation. This is where the feeling you get, the mind-muscle connection you get will help you to establish a good glute bridge. So again, you want a neutral spine, squeeze the glutes, and go up. Make sure you keep squeezing at the top. Nice flat line from your knee to your shoulders. So you can incorporate that and get a very good glute bridge, which will strengthen your glutes and protect your low back. Another exercise that is going to help heal your low back actually has an interesting history. It's called the reverse hyper. And it was actually invented by Louis Simmons, who is a very famous power lifter who actually hurt his back lifting a lot of weight, and he used this exercise to help rehab it. So the idea of this exercise is to move the low back in conjunction with the glutes, hamstrings a little bit, and you are working your low back a bit along with the glutes, but in a very healthy way. So you'll be getting blood into that area, and a lot of healing benefits can come from that. So what you'll do is, if you're at home, you'll be able to use a Swiss ball. Now, Louis, he invented a machine, a reverse hyper machine, to do this exercise properly, but you can still get some good benefits from doing it this way. You'll want to position this Swiss ball right underneath, about the center of your body, right underneath your hips and belly button, that area, and then you will pivot on that. So you'll have to play around with this at first to get the right position, but the idea is you are going to now move your legs up. All right, so you're going to do that. You're going to lift your heels, use your glutes and low back a little bit. Now you might even feel a little bit better range of motion from here on your forearms. Just like that. So for this particular exercise, for the reverse hyper, you're going to want to do high reps, 25 plus or so. And again, play with that position where that ball is going to be at underneath you, so that you can have a decent range of motion where you feel your glutes working and you feel your low back working a little bit to some degree, but not in a painful way. So play with that, and that exercise can also be an added tool in your regimen to fight low back pain.